everyone, and welcome to Rosen Sports Sunday live from Blakeney Stadium, the Minnesota State Mankato. Training camp home for the Minnesota Vikings for the past 48 years. How about that? But for the first time in those 48 years, there's something different. During all the practices that we watched in the course of our time down here in Mankato, there's something missing in the background you might notice here. We've watched it over the years. Yeah, Gage Hall dorm rooms. You don't see them anymore. They're no longer. And whether you stayed here as a student or a Minnesota Viking player, there is a story to be told. We will hear some of those from the likes of John Randall, Greg Coleman, and Ricky Young, among others, later in the show. But first, a visit with the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Leslie Frazier, who joins us here live tonight on this beautiful night. I mean, I know head coaches, you would maybe like to see it a little warmer as training camp progresses. First of all, what about Gage? Was it a little odd for you to drive by it and see just a lot of rubble over there?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, I have a lot of good memories of Gage as well, and it's weird to look over there and see nothing but mortar over there, bricks, and it's just a different sight.
Your team had the day off today. This new collective bargaining agreement really has taken away, we just heard your soundbite in the sportscast, from the classic two-a-day workouts. We've already had some really tough injuries in the NFL. I think four guys are already out for the year, and we're not even close to our first preseason game. How difficult a line is it to walk, Leslie, when this is a collision sport, and you got to have guys, yet at the same time you can't put them in a bubble to have that situation occur?
It is a fine line. I saw some of the same reports that you saw. A lot of key players already have gone down for the season, not just missing a few games or part of the season. So, but it's hard to get away from contact. You got to be able to have some contact. That's what the game is. But you do have to monitor it. You don't want to be losing guys in training camps, but some things are out of your control.
As a head coach, does your approach ever change for preseason games as well? Is it still an evaluation process, really? Because you always want to also fine-tune your starters who are going to be in there pretty much every minute of every game.
Yeah, I think with the way the CBA is now, with the salary cap, Mark, I think you are less likely to play your starters an extended period in the preseason. You've seen it over the last few years, and people are afraid to lose key guys in the preseason. So you try to evaluate the young guys more so than the veteran guys.
We're going to talk to your starting quarterback in a minute. Christian Ponder's waiting in the wings. But when you talk about being one of those guys, winning playoff games in January, that conversation always begins and ends with the quarterback. You want everybody to get better. Last year was Joe Flacco. We heard a lot about Kaepernick and Russell Wilson, the old guard with Breeze, the Mannings, Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers. Where do you want where does your quarterback need to be on this football team to elevate himself to those sorts of names?
I think Christian is doing a good job of growing. He's going to be in his third full season. It'll be his second full season as a starter. Just the evolution that has to happen in that position, just growing as a player all around, as a leader, the accuracy, all the things that you expect from a quarterback.
Does his success translate to just quarterback rating, or is it simply wins and losses as you evaluate him as the season progresses, starting with your first two games at Detroit and Chicago?
Well, I think at the end of the day, Mark, it's always about wins and losses. Guys can put up gaudy stats, but if your team is not winning, I don't know if that's exactly what you want. We need a guy who can lead us to victories, and we think Christian is that guy.
What expectations do you have? What areas of improvement do you want to see him? He won the 4 games in a row last year. Do you see a lot in him that convinces you he can be that guy?
Oh, yeah. The way he played down the stretch, if we can build on that, there's no doubt in my mind he can lead us to a championship. His accuracy improved. His overall leadership improved. His decision-making was much better. He did a lot of the things that you see excellent quarterbacks do, so we know it's there.
This is not a breaking news headline that the Vikings need to improve their receiving core. You spent a lot of time, along with Rick Spielman, doing so during this offseason, both through the draft and free agency. The key guy being Greg Jennings from the Green Bay Packers, a guy who's beaten the Vikings, had a lot of success against Minnesota. Tell us about Jennings, and again, working chemistry, because Christian really hasn't worked with many of these guys at all until right now in OTAs and minicamps before that.
Yeah, you're right. Adding Greg, we think, will really bolster our receiving core. We're a young group. He gives us some veteran leadership. He's a guy who has a Super Bowl ring. He's been a Pro Bowler. So having him in that wide receiver room should help us a great deal. And then the fact that we drafted Cordero Patterson, we think he's going to be a very good player for us. We're hoping to have a healthy Jerome Simpson to add along with Jarius Wright. So we think we've improved our receiving core.
But circling back to that original discussion, since you're not going to be playing a lot of those guys, I mean, Christian to Greg Jennings in the preseason games, how do you develop the chemistry when the bell rings and you got to play at your best in Detroit that opening game?
Well, we're going to do a lot of things in practice, which is not exactly a game, but when we get into game situations, we are going to play those guys in some preseason games, but not extensively, because what people will remember, the regular season games. We don't I mean, I hardly remember what our preseason record was. So, you know, we've got to get some things done in practice, but we will get some snaps in preseason games as well.
A year ago, speaking of a guy in bubble wrap, that was Adrian Peterson. Oh, everyone was holding their breath. We all know what happened, the MVP season. We talk about Adrian. He came so close to breaking the record last year. Is that something we should be talking about, or is it a good thing if your team is better balanced and Adrian's not rushing for so many yards this year? Is it a double-edged sword? Because not many teams discuss their running back when you talk about a key guy in their football team anymore.
No, you're right. The game has changed. It's about quarterbacks and receivers, it seems, today. But we are in a unique situation. We've got the greatest running back to play the game on our team. So no other team has that. So, you know, our situation is different. We think he can help lead us to a championship. And if he gets 2,000 and we win a championship, we're all happy.
Can he be more of a pass catcher? You think about what a nightmare it would be for a linebacker to go one-on-one with this guy. We've seen him do it at times. Could that evolve in Musgrave's offense a little bit more?
Yeah, you know, we're going to do some things to get him the football in many different ways, but it's still going to come back to our handing it off to him more so than not. So, but yeah, we want to throw it to him a little bit more, and we will.
On the defensive side of the football, speaking of, we talked about Greg Jennings, former Packers, Desmond Bishop, you added the linebacker from Green Bay. I think you made the announcement from day one here in training camp that Aaron Henderson's going to be, at least at the outset, your starting middle linebacker. Desmond on the outside, he seemed to be fine with that. What is he going to bring to the table for your football team?
Well, once again, you know, you're adding a guy who started in our league. He's won a championship in our league. He has excellent leadership qualities. So to add that piece to the puzzle should help our linebacking core. Now, the wild card is he didn't play at all a season ago. So we're still trying to figure him out a little bit, and he's trying to figure out where he is and gain his confidence again.
No matter what position we're talking about, Leslie, you got to have quality depth. We already talked about some of the injuries that occur. How does that stack up, not just in the linebacker position, but for your entire team? Because that's something you have to work, and you and Rick Spielman have to work at very hard, because injuries are part of the contract. You know they're going to happen.
No, that's exactly right, and that's a discussion that Rick and myself, along with our scouts, have all the time, because you want to have quality depth because of what we're seeing right now with the injuries across the league. And one key injury sometimes can affect an entire season, where we hope that doesn't happen with us. We hope we'll have quality depth. We think we do.
Rookies play a lot in the National Football League, unlike some other sports. Sharif Floyd is a guy, I remember draft night, looked like he was going to be a top 5 pick. Bam, he drops to number 23. The Vikings didn't hesitate in grabbing him. I assume he's got the proverbial chip on his shoulder. I don't know why he dropped, but I'm sure you're very happy to have him. And what do you look at his involvement here in the defensive line?
Well, we think he's going to be able to give us some quality snaps. Kevin Williams is a little bit older in his career now. He's still a very good football player. But to have a guy of Sharif's quality as a backup, being able to come in and spell our 3 technique Kevin Williams at times, should help our football team. There shouldn't be a big drop-off. And that should, in fact, give us our run defense back that we've been so good at in the past, where we dipped a little bit a year ago, that we can maybe get a little bit better, and also have some inside pass rush that Sharif can give us as well.
I'm sure I can hear your speech already, because you're going to open up at Detroit and at Chicago. I can't remember the last time the Vikings opened up against 2 divisional teams. Huge difference than opening up against Cleveland and Pittsburgh.
Oh. I mean, these are divisional games. I mean, they count even more so for us. You know, we want to get off to a great start. A loss in our division sometimes is more like 2 games instead of 1. So it's very, very important that we get off to a good start.
Appreciate your time, Leslie. Thanks so much for stopping by. I know you wanted to warm up. This is a gorgeous night. You got to enjoy that,
right? It's a beautiful night.
Thank you so much, Head Coach Leslie Frazier.
Thank you.
Coming up next, the quarterback, Christian Ponder, joins us live in Mankato. We'll get his viewpoint of what's going on in training camp and his hopes and aspirations for the 2013 season. Stay with us. All right. And welcome back to Rosen Sports Sunday, live from Blakesley Stadium here in Mankato on this chilly night. Back with the starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, Christian Ponder. Christian, I hope you enjoyed your day off. It's going to be the last one for a little while.
Yeah, it is. It is. It was good. You know, went back up to Minneapolis, went to church and everything, and now back here to start. We got six in a row, so we're ready to go.
What about this weather? Do you like to see it warm up a little bit more? The head coaches, I know head coach Leslie Frazier does. Not that 75 or 80 degrees is a cold front, but you know.
Well, this is interesting weather. I wouldn't mind if it was hotter. I wouldn't mind if it was, you know, Friday, Saturday was hot, just to get acclimated. You know, this is a time where you want to sweat a little bit and get back into football shape. And but hey, you know, once we put the full pads on, it feels like this. I don't mind it.
Tell me about the Christian Ponder from 2011. You came down here. Donovan McNabb was the guy who was taking over for Favre, actually, the starting quarterback. You come in bright-eyed, looking at the future of your National Football League career. You remember that Christian Ponder, and where's this Christian Ponder sitting here tonight?
Yeah, it's a big difference. I mean, I remember just coming down here to training camp and having no idea what to expect. Knowing maybe 4 or 5 teammates that I had on the team. Briefly talking to coaches. The whole lockout kind of threw a wrench in everything. And obviously Donovan was here, so he was going to be the starter, and I wasn't sure when I was ever going to play. And now it's completely different. Have a season and a half basically under my belt, and a lot more comfortable with everything that's going on, and a lot more confident what I'm doing.
I'm not sure what answer what you expect to give when the media asks questions like, do you think this is a make or break year for Christian Ponder? And what answer we expect is, yeah, it is. It really is. Now, you probably don't feel that way. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but in some respects, do you feel like I want my name mentioned with those other great names I mentioned to your head coach just a little while ago?
Yeah, obviously you want to be, one of the best at what you do, and I'm a competitive guy. I want to be, and I try not to compare myself. I know what my potential is, and no one ever really reaches their full potential. I want to be a guy that gets close, and that takes a lot of hard work. And for me, I just want progression, and I want a big progression from last year to this year, and I'm working hard to do it. And what's great for me is what our team has done in the off season, and what the front office has done to bring in guys that are going to help. Adding Greg and bringing in Cordero and the guys that are already on this team that are established, and the young guys that are rising up. I think it's going to be a fun year on the offensive side. You
won 4 straight to end last season. Thrilling game at Metrodome when you beat the Packers to earn that playoff berth. What did that game do for your confidence when you beat the Packers? And one of the most exciting games you've seen in a long time.
Well, it was a great game to be a part of. I learned a lot. It put us in the playoffs. It was a game that we had to win to get in, and we did so. I think everyone performed well, offense and defense. And for me, it was just the fun to be a part of it. I think I learned a lot of things, and was a boost in my confidence and comfort level. And now I just want to carry that on to this year.
And yet you could not play in the playoff game. Yeah. You had the triceps injury. When did you know that next week that you couldn't go? Because I saw you warming up on the field 20 minutes before kickoff that game, and it just didn't happen. That extremely disappointing.
It was very disappointing. There was a hope that hopefully there would be some sort of breakthrough to be able to play. Did a ton of treatment and kind of progressed each day to getting more and more throwing in, and just getting out there in the cold weather didn't help, and just didn't work out, and it was unfortunate. And for me personally, I want to get back in the playoffs so I can get in the playoff game, and we know it's going to take a lot of hard work, but that's our mindset, is to get back there.
Leslie Frazier talked about Adrian Peterson. He remembers what Walter Payton was like.
Yeah.
When he talks about running backs, he knows what he speaks of. When you have a security blanket like that, what have you learned about this guy? You hand the ball to him, and you have the, as they say, the best seat in the house. You're watching this guy go.
Yeah.
But it's a passing league. Yeah. Yet, how important in the future for this Vikings will an Adrian Peterson have to be?
Well, he is important. I think everyone knows that we are a great running team. It's like the old black and blue division, and we're going to ride him for everything that he's worth. And when you have a special playmaker like that, you try to build your team around him. And the thing I've learned about him is you never count him out on a single play. I think there's so many plays last year, like Seattle comes to mind, where in Green Bay, where he looks like he's going to be down at the line of scrimmage and breaks like 25 tackles and goes and scores on an 80-yard run. And so it's just, he never ceases to amaze people and what he does. I know everyone knows how athletic he is and how good and gifted he is as a player, but he always seems to surprise people.
I think every Viking fan came to the real quick conclusion the Vikings needed to improve their wide receiving core. They have done so. You just mentioned that with Greg Jennings in particular. How much work do you need to have with him, because you're not probably going to get all that much in preseason games, to convince yourself that when the bell rings in Detroit that you're going to have that connection, you're going to be able to read each other's minds pretty well?
Yeah, that's what this time's for. I think even through the spring we made some improvements there, and we got to keep doing so during training camp. But he's a guy that understands how to get open, and there's a constant communication level between us, and I think we have good chemistry so far, and we just got to keep building that.
You got Jarius Wright and Cordero Patterson. Everyone's anxious to see this kid wearing number 84 in tribute to Randy Moss. It's a lot, big number to wear on his young back.
Yeah. He looks great. I think with the huge amount of fans that we have out here that have seen him, I think everyone's excited about it. He's improved a lot, from the first day he got here to learning the ropes and looking more comfortable in his routes and in the offense. We expect big things out of him.
Matt Castle's a guy here in town as well, backing you up. What's your relationship like with him?
It's great. It's great. We're just spending time in my room watching TV together. He's a great asset for me and for this team, and he's been around. He knows a lot. He knows a lot about football and has a high football IQ, and we communicate a lot and are talking through a lot of things. And it's just going to make me better and him better and this team better.
You look at the start of the season again at Detroit, at Chicago. The importance is obvious because everyone wants to get off to a good start, especially winning games in your division. How much better a football team do you think this team will be than the one that even finished last year?
It should be better. And let's just focus us on his offense. I mean, it's the third year in the offense under Coach Musgrave. We got a lot of guys coming back. We're a young team. We brought in new pieces, and we expect a progression, and we're excited with what we have. And I think we outperformed what a lot of people thought we should have performed last year. And we have high expectations for ourselves, and we're working hard and doing everything we can prepare. It's hard to predict what's going to happen in the NFL season, but we're excited to see what's going to happen.
How much attention you pay to what the media people say, even like that Sam Ponder person? Does she ask you any of those tough questions?
I have to pay attention to a lot of what she says. But she's been awesome. I got to have the experience of working her with the ESPYs, and
yeah, you did.
That was a little out of my comfort zone. If it wasn't for her there, I would have crashed and burned.
Yeah, there's a smile. There's a married, happily married man right there.
Yeah.
Thanks much for stopping by tonight, Christian. All right, thank you. Don't go away. Why do you have to go away? You got to get to curfew. But no more Gage Hall. It's over. It's done. We'll relive some of those fond memories coming up next here from Mankato. Stay with us.
The new dorm looks great. A little better than old Gage Hall. I think Gage looked better as rubble over there than it did standing up.
Yes, rubble is all that is left of Gage Hall. I drove past it again this evening, and it looks exactly the same. Nothing but rubble. You're right, Christian Ponder. From Fran Tarkenton to Alan Page, Randy Moss to John Randall, Gage has housed the Minnesota Vikings for the past 47 years. All of them, all the players. Well, except for Brett Favre, who, of course, never made it down here to training camp. The rest of them did. David McCoy takes a trip down memory lane.
Knowing how big that building is, go down is pretty amazing.
In the rubble of Gage Hall are 47 years of unforgettable, unimaginable, and in some cases, unspeakable memories.
Oh my God, Gage Hall. Oh yeah. There's so many stories. If those walls could talk, it would be a bestseller. Both good, the bad, and the ugly, and the unexplained, and the things that you can't ever tell anybody about. You remember being hot?
Trying to get out of a card game.
Sweaty.
Trying to sneak in for curfew.
No air conditioning.
Stubby Easton, who was our equipment manager, if you left him a couple of 20s or something, he might let you in through his windows.
Guys keeping you up all times of night, with a lot of different antics.
In a rainstorm, it's always you always hear the tick, 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 and then the rain, you hear the rain, it's just loud.
Being in a room that probably was as small as some people's closet, and having another roommate in there with you didn't really help out any.
As a rookie, I shared a room with Christian, so Christian and I had our twin beds on the floor.
Going in that bathroom at night and finding as if it was like someone had just went through it with a wild timberwolf and just destroyed it. And I learned to wear flip-flops. Let's just say that. I learned to wear flip-flops in the bathroom at Gage Hall.
I have some fond memories in there, and it's it's sad to see it go, but obviously progress is always good. In this case, for sure, good.
The lack of air conditioning was legendary. So was the lack of space. So were some of the pranks.
Randall McDaniel was known for pranks. He would take a couple of pennies and nail them in, or just hammer them into your door so you couldn't open your door. Or he was also known for taking a trash can full of water and pouring it underneath your door.
Then he was also known for taking all the toilet paper out of the bathroom at night and leaving some guys stranded. So those are some fun memories of Gage Hall.
For many Vikings players, Gage Hall holds not just a special place in their memory, but in their heart. It was the place they made the team, and their dreams come true.
What a great place. It had a lot of history, you know, from players and coaches being on top of the roof, you know, mopeds and bicycles in the hallways, and it was a fun time.
But yeah, it'll be weird being at that practice field and looking over, not having big Gage Hall staring at us. It'll be kind of crazy, but definitely some good memories, and you know, it's housed some great players and some great teams.
So, you know, Gage Hall will definitely be missed.
I'm sad to see it go.
It wasn't exactly the Ritz-Carlton, but it served them well. And we'll be right back to wrap things up here from Mankato. Stay with us. A couple of quick notes. If you're planning to come to Mankato to watch Viking practice, the best time to come is in the afternoon. That's when the main practice is at 2:30 in the afternoon, leading up to Saturday night's passing scrimmage right here at Blakesley Stadium on Saturday evening. I want to thank our crew and, of course, thank head coach Leslie Frazier and quarterback Christian Ponder for joining us tonight on our annual edition of Vikings Sports Sunday here from training camp. We'll see you again next week. Good night, everyone.